All right, let's dive into the crazy, fast-paced world of crypto scalping. But look, we're going to cut through all the noise, all the hype. What we're going to do is break down what it actually takes to do this like a pro. I mean, this is the big question, right? It's the dream that gets so many of us interested in the first place, that idea of financial freedom. But what's the real path? Well, it starts with completely shattering the fantasy. And this quote just hits the nail on the head. You know that image? The trader kicking back on a beach, laptop open, making a killing in an hour? Yeah, you gotta leave all of that behind. It's a total fantasy. The reality is so much more demanding, and it takes a kind of discipline the movies just never, ever show you. So, first things first, we've got to separate the myth from the reality. Because honestly, understanding what a professional scalper isn't doing is probably the most critical first step to becoming one. So, the movie version, you work for maybe an hour whenever you feel like it, from anywhere with a cool view. The professional reality? Try 5 to 6 hours a day minimum of pure, intense, unbroken focus at a dedicated desk. Your whole life has to be structured. Your sleep, your diet, because believe me, anything that messes with your focus is gonna hit your wallet hard. And that whole demanding lifestyle, it's all built on something that most beginners just totally ignore. It's not some secret strategy. It's a rock-solid foundation of your own psychology, your discipline, and having the right environment. I'm telling you, without those things, the best trading plan in the world is completely useless. Okay, so what does this foundation actually look like? If you're really serious about this, think of the next part as your non-negotiable checklist. These are not suggestions, okay? They're straight up requirements. Now, what's really interesting here is the order of this list. First up, and this is crucial, is your psychological health. If you get angry or frustrated easily, you have to solve that first. Then you need a systematic, disciplined approach to, well, everything. Third, you have to be able to take a loss. It's not a failure, it's just a cost of doing business. And only then do we get to the practical stuff, making this a full-time job and having the right tech. And we're talking fiber optic internet, low ping, because in a game of milliseconds, your connection is a massive edge. And speaking of discipline, this next rule, it might just be the most important one of all. It's like a circuit breaker that stops one bad day from blowing up your entire account. It's the daily loss limit. It's so simple. You decide beforehand the absolute maximum you can lose in a day. You hit that number, you're done. You walk away. Period. No exceptions. Okay, so once that mental game is locked in, then we can start talking about the tools of the trade. How does a pro actually see what the market is doing? And spoiler alert, it's not about just staring at a pretty chart. It's about reading the raw mechanics of buying and selling as it happens. The first and most vital tool is the order book. The best way to think about this is like a map of pure intention. It shows you exactly where huge pools of money are just waiting to buy or sell. A scalper is constantly scanning this for what they call densities. These are huge orders. We're talking over $500,000 that can act like a temporary wall, either holding the price up or pushing it back down.
So if the order book is what might happen, the tape is what is happening this very second. It's the pulse of the market, a live feed of every single trade getting executed. A scalper is watching this for one thing: changes in speed. A sudden burst of buying on the tape, right as the price hits a key level, that's a huge sign that momentum is building.
And finally, yeah, we get to the chart. But a professional scalper looks at a chart completely differently. It's not about trying to predict the future with some mystical pattern. It's about finding the really obvious levels, the recent highs and lows, where you know predictable human behavior is going to happen. It's basically a map of where other traders are feeling the most pain. So, we've got the mindset down, and we've got the tools to see the market with total clarity. How do we pull all that together into an actual strategy? Well, the core idea is surprisingly simple and, yeah, a little ruthless. This is the fundamental mental shift you have to make. Professional scalping isn't about outsmarting the market. It's about capitalizing on the predictable, forced mistakes of other traders. Your profit comes directly from those moments when their stop losses get triggered and they're forced out of their positions.
See, a professional trade is never based on a hunch. It's based on a handful of things all lining up perfectly. First, you need a clear level on the chart where you know stop losses are probably sitting. Second, you need a pattern, like price coiling up tight near that level. Third, you look for a large order in the order book, confirming big money is interested. And fourth, you need high relative volume, showing that this thing is in play. When those four things come together, that's your high probability setup.
And just as important as knowing why to get in a trade is knowing why not to.
oh, the stop loss is really short. That is not a real reason. It has good potential to go up. That's just wishful thinking. Every single trade has to be based on those objective reasons we just talked about, not hope. So we've gone through the mindset, the tools, the strategy. But that really brings us to the final and maybe the most important question. What's the one thing that truly separates the traders who make it from everyone else who doesn't? I want you to let this quote really sink in for a second. You can have the best tools, the perfect strategy on paper, but it means absolutely nothing without skill. Think about it. Two lawyers can know the exact same laws, but one wins the case and one loses. Why? Skill. It is the exact same thing in trading. Your success will come from honing your craft through thousands of hours of focused, deliberate practice. So here's the final thought I want to leave you with. Scalping is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It is a high-performance profession, just like being a surgeon or a professional athlete. It demands absolute dedication and a true commitment to mastery. The methods themselves work. The only question left is, are you ready to do the work to become the master?